Hello, students. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Guys, do you see my screen well? There is no issues? Okay, perfect. So what we are going to do today, we are going to discuss one really important topic about user story and requirements. And you will feel later afterwards the class why it's so important, because that's basically what are you going to do from day to day on your work. So let's go. So this will be our agenda for today. So we're going to talk about requirements, user stories. We're going to talk about end-to-end testing. What does it mean? Like, how are you going to do this? We will practice, of course. So nice to have you Jira open later. And definitely I will explain your homework, and we will go to the question and answer session, and you will be able to ask all questions you want, class related and other questions. Okay, so requirements. So that's kind of, I would say, our testing Bible. And why? So what is actually a requirement is? So requirement, that's basically a document. And sometimes when I say in ticket, I mean ticket with a requirement. So software requirements, that's description basically of the feature and functionality for your application. So that's kind of final expectation, our user expectation from the software product, from our product, which we are going to test. And so there is a multiple types of requirements, and right now we'll learn what kind of requirements you're going to use as a tester. So first part of requirements, it's actually business requirement. So this requirements, it's not about technical, something technical. So it's not for developers or for the testers sometimes. So that's about general overview of the product, like primary use, why we need this product, scope of the product, like our vision of the products, and audience of the user. So general, so what kind of business need and expect from the product. So that's why it's called business requirement. Next one is system requirements, and that's already more close to us already. So those type of requirements about how the software product will perform and function, and how this product will achieve a specific target goal and in the system. So those system requirements, they written for developers and testers, because we will probably use it with the same ticket with a requirement. So definitely sometimes there is more for developers, like detail, like functional and non-functional requirements. So, but sometimes testers really advance it, like the same, like automation engineers, for example, or even like sometimes there is like, I can't say there is a manual testers, that's something middle between automation and manual testers, who can also like read all technical specific requirements, like system requirements. So, and you will, after you will finish like mobile part and API, SQL and automation, so you will be able to understand the technical part as well. So don't worry, it's not something like super complicated, like system requirements. And as you see on the screen, like that's written for developers, there is a detailed functional and non-functional requirements. So that's kind of about the system requirements. So next one is functional requirements, my favorite one, and it will be your favorite too. So using the functional requirements, we actually going to create sometimes even test cases. So those requirements about the functional attributes and behavior of the software product. So that's basically what we need. So those requirements, they reflect in working and functionalities of like our application. So that's functional requirements. But there is a like second type of requirements, non-functional as well. So why we need it, like, to know. So non-functional requirements, they definitely different than other than functional requirements, and more about performance of the software product and like condition, multiple environments. So there is like non-functional requirements, and we're not really going to use in a real life these requirements in our testing. And one more important type of requirements, that's user requirements, and those requirements generated from the user perspective. So how user going to use the product, how is user supposed to use the product in multiple ways, and like real environment by targeted user, how user will be executing the task, like specifying like user requirements. So like basically user requirements, that's user expectation from a software product. And we're also going to use those type of requirements in our testing as well. And next one, like, which is obviously going from user requirements, that's user stories. So, and sometimes I know it's super confusing, but once we will go to the practical part in Jira, will be everything easy. So what is a user story? So first, yeah, that's super popular question on the interview. Like, what does a requirement mean? What is a user story and difference between? So first, user story, we use in Agile. So, you know already Agile, that's the popular framework in development to develop our product fast and easy. So, and user story help us to shift focus from like writing about requirements to talk about requirements. So it's not will be long conversation about one product. So we can divide one requirements for multiple user stories. So we can like the way once we need it, like for example, we have a huge big task. So we can divide this task based on user stories, like, and work on it. So user stories, like they include written sentence or two. So that's why we need like a lot of user stories to test and develop the product. So like how we can also describe the user story. So in simple, like that's explanation what I really like most. So that's simple, like user story, that's the simple description of the feature or like functionality of application, like from the person perspective who is desires a new capability. So that's usually customer of the application. So, and usually that's the template, like you can see on the screen. As a user, like just user or type of user, I want something. So for some reason, so I expect something. So as you see on the screen, so as a customer, I want to be able to search for the flight. So that's the user story. So that's exactly how it will look in your Jira when you will get this requirement. So the benefit of Agile user stories, so they can be written like multiple levels of detail, that they could be short, they could be really detailed. So I will show you today both. I have prepared for you some examples, so you will see the difference. So second question, like popular on the interview, who is writing user stories? So any person could write user stories, but definitely there is, we will divide responsibilities in the project. So let me explain to you. So if it's big company, like something like Amazon, for example, or Google, believe me, that's for sure will be a product department with the product managers who is definitely know everything about the product. So it will be the product owner responsibility to create this user story and requirements. So it doesn't mean the only product owner could write the user story, but most of them, yes. If it's a startup, and sometimes there is like no product owner, no product manager. It could be like owner, developers, and testers, for example, or like business analysts. So in this case, they can write user story. Like tester also if, for example, there is no documentation, you have like some idea, maybe some small specification, like conversation with developers or like, I don't know, people who is like marketing people. So first you can create user story by yourself. I will show you how to do this today. And then you will create test cases. So testers, for sure, we can also create user stories. But my really hope that you will not be involved in user story creation. You will be getting user stories for testing, because that's the most, I would say, nice part when you have written requirements in user stories. So that's really cool. So what kind of benefits we also can have from writing user stories? So yeah, so they can, like, user stories provide goal for us, like why, and no restriction like how we're supposed to get this goal. So that's number one. So that's also like a new opportunity for development. So team, like for example, we're developing some feature, yeah, based on the user story. And like, for example, this feature is done and we see that it's like not fully complete. We can create one more user story to complete this feature, so and so on and so on. So like that's helps us to keep our development like in really fast, like in creative environment. So that's one more. So what else? Next one. So yeah, user story really help us communicate with each other. So when it's like basic something, developer able to add something to user story, tester. So you know, like when it's a big company like which using like waterfall approach, so this will be like impossible. So someone is already created like huge requirement, and you cannot as a testers like add something, or developers, they also cannot. So because it's not agile, so you will be following this rule. So in agile, and when you're using user stories, there is always way to adjust, always way to change. So that's why it's really cool to have user stories. So yeah, say highlights what need to be completed, like, or maybe something supposed to be changed. And there is kind of the visual understanding how much needs to be done. So before product is ready for release. So the more user stories we have, the more they clear, they, I would say in this case, we will be more happy, and our future customer as well. And definitely after we have these stories, the most nice part, as I mentioned, we will have to do requirements-based testing. So as a QA, day to day, you will be doing requirements-based testing if you will have it. I hope you will. So that's the best testing approach in which we will create test cases exactly from requirements. So in this way, you don't need to do like, you know, like reinvent the wheel. You will be using your requirements. So, and your test case will be exactly written from the requirements using exactly the same word. Even probably sometimes there is a title, like with a different manner, but that's the, so that's the best way. So like, you know, like when I got questions from you, I'm like confused how to create test cases without requirements. So yeah, it's hard, but guys, you complete this part. So right now it will be easier. So when you will have a requirement, all test cases will be, I would say, rewritten from requirements. I will show you what I meant. So let's check what kind of stages we have on requirement-based testing. So first one, design and test cases. As I mentioned, like, and you remember, guys, we have four main condition in test cases, like four main parameters. So precondition, data setup, and input and expected outcome. So you know it. So approach for test cases remains the same. Even if you have requirements, your approach for test case creation will be the same. Next one. So we created test cases, then with testing, yeah? So once we complete the testings, we're supposed to verify the test result and compare expected and actual results. So same, you know already how to do this, so it's nothing new. Also, like knowing information. Next stage is requirements-based testing. Like once you tested, executed your test cases, and you see something is wrong, you have to create a bug report, so log an issue. And next stage, you will have to track and manage your defects. So, and that's most important stage that I would like to pay you attention. So guys, so for example, you created a bug report, yeah? And you think like everything like is really easy reproducible and you added all details, but sometimes it's not. So what you're supposed to do as a tester, so how you're going to track and manage this one. So first, there will be settings. You will be getting email in your mail. It could be Outlook, Gmail, any kind of email with like all questions from this JIRA. For example, your product owner would like to prioritize this JIRA, yeah? And he is not really clear if it's like medium priority or high priority. So, and this person could ask you questions like clarify what really what like your exact steps were, or like I don't know, any like additional questions from product owner to make sure he's getting right the issue. So sometimes it's not because you not clear in your bug report. Sometimes there is just they need additional explanation. So in this case, you just have to monitor your bug reports and always reply to the person who is asking the question. It could be product owner, developer, project manager. So that's what I meant by saying tracking. So, so make sure you always answering the question from your bug report. Even you think it's obviously and you was really clear in your bug report, answer again. So sometimes it's happened. So like sometimes product people, they're not really technical. And if it's really something technical issues, they need to more like, I would say, human explanation, which is also fine. So you can try to, I don't know, so rephrase, add additional steps so any person will be able to understand what's wrong. So that's about the tracking. So once your issue is fixed, it will be sent to you for retesting. So if you will be only one person in QA team, which is possible, ticket will go back to you and will be assigned to you. If it will come in to your QA box in Jira, so you can take from this filter and test. So also really often question, I have to test all my bugs? No, any person from your team will be able to validate the issue. So first come, first serve. So that's how it works. So you're not supposed to you're not only responsible persons for validating your issues, any person from your team. So just, come in, take it, ticket came to your QA filter, any person from the team taken and retesting. If everything is fine, ticket is ready to be deployed. And when is the release date, it will be released to the production. So the fix for the issue as well. So that's how it works. So track and manage defects is also important, the same like you create in test cases, you create in the bug report. So you have to see your bug life cycle as well. So you have to be participating. So that's how it's worked. And right now, guys, we're going to actually practice. So all theory will become a reality. So that's kind of user story for our Coil application. So as a user, I want to play music when I landed on the home page. We have this functionality, yeah? So right now, guys, I probably, let me escape the presentation and we will go to the Coil application. 1 second. So once I opened, yeah, so right now I am on the home page. So I would like to verify. Yeah, you can watch, yeah, for now you just can watch, like, but when we go to the Jira, you can repeat or watch as well. So I'm here on the home page, yeah. So, and I have to verify if I am able to play something. Yeah, yes, I am. So I have sound, so, but that was just like first type of testing. So right now we have to go to the more detail, yeah. So guys, and I have created the user story for you. So just a quick reminder how you can check what was created by you. You can go here and say reported by me. You see, it's even in recent visible here. So I can go here and we will see all my user stories created for you. Okay, so let's start from the basic user story. So let me open bigger. So how to create user story? The same way how you create in test case or bug report. So you just have to click create, and you see there is a multiple options here. It's like issue type. So you will have to create, you will have to choose the story here. So sometimes this one color will not be green, like I mean icon next to the story. It could be pink, yellow, anyone. So when you will start working, so again, guys, that's just a settings. Settings could be different from any company. And actually, instead of story, here could be word requirement. So it's different. It's two different things, like they similar but different. But sometimes user story will be written here, like under requirements. So we have settings as a story. So that's, and here you just place in information in description. Story and requirements, they have a priority. So, but it's similar way. So for example, you develop in the main functionality of your application. So priority will be high or highest, or that's something like design change, which will be like medium or even low. So usually it's high and medium, like so low, not really, sometimes like really, really low, but yeah. So story definitely should include priority. So let's go back to my stories. And that story about the agent player control. So for example, guys, imagine you got this ticket like in your queue, and that's kind of already in development. So that's, we just started our sprint. So this story in to do. So developers, for example, working and developing the code, user testers able to create test cases, yeah? So let's go in and create test cases based on user story. So this one is a simple, without any like technical explanation, even without design. So kind of startup will have something like this, like one sentence. Only like I never saw like really detailed requirements like user story in the startup. So they always looks like this. So, and what stories say, as a user, I should see the newest player control design so that I have the best playback experience possible. So let's try to create test cases, yeah, based on this story. Let me open a different window so I will be watching and creating test cases. So right now, guys, we are going to create test cases based on the requirements so we can see what we have. So let me do the same way. Oops. Okay, so I'm creating test case. So the story was music agent player control. So how we can name in this case a test case? Anyone have an idea? So that's the user story again. I will show you again. So updated control, check player controls. Yeah, verify player controls. Yeah. Valid, yeah, not updated controls. So updated controls, it's not just, yeah, so agent playing controls. So we can say like, okay, verify player controls. Like I will start from verify player controls. 1 second. Okay, so verify player controls. So what like my first in the test case, like I supposed to add what, like my given, yeah, my preconditions. So user where we have player controls on the home page, yeah. So, or in a queue, like anywhere, yeah. So homepage, but basically homepage. So let me go to the home, like that's where I landed. So and I will say given user on them here on the homepage, yeah. So, and right now is the best part. As a user, I should see the new player controls. So from the requirement, we can say when user see the player controls, then what, guys? Tell me what. So in a story with, as a user, I should see the new player control designs. So I have the best playback experience possible. Player controls are presented, we already seen them. So when user sees the player controls, okay, he's able to manipulate, yeah. So then user is like able, I don't know, to interact with controls. Let's do this one. Interact with a player. And one more, and user would like to have the best playback experience. What else? What we can add about the playback? User cannot playback, that's process. So user can click on the control, which is a play. We can say, and user clicking, and user clicking on the play control. And playback started. What else as a QA we can add here as a test data? Tell me. Based on the user story. As a user, I should see the newest player control design. So guys, not really environment. So there is a multiple, no, not credentials. There is a multiple tools in development which designers using for keeping like saving the designs. So like design templates. So like popular tools like, I don't know, the Zeppelin, for example. So yeah, sometimes we can add a link to actually like container with the design. So you will be able to open this link and see the design. So yeah, we can add mockups here for sure. So in this case, as a test data, we can add or exact design or link to the design. So once you like make sure it's attached, like correct design, so like latest one, so you can add the design. So and person who will be executing your test case will be able to validate design. So, and if we're validating design as well, we can say design review. even like this. Player controls, design review, also possible. I'm just adding like multiple functionality, like multiple options for you guys. You can do even like this. Also accept a title for a test case. So yeah. And so here we can add just any attachment, create a screenshot from Coil, and this because we don't have mockups real one. So, but in reality you will. And usually those mockups attach it to your requirement. So it will be link or screenshot. So that's how it works. Okay, so we create a test case based on this user story. I have one more. So let me go back. So second test story, it was this one. Player controls rewinding, fast forwarding. So as a user, I should be able to rewind and fast forward content media. Okay, let's create a test case for this one. Anyone wants? Yes, one test case for one user story, that's for sure. Yes, Coil had this feature. Okay, 1 second, I will open. 1 second, guys. Okay, we have Artem. Okay, Artem, you're right now unmuted, so you can help me.
Perfect. So we're creating test case, right?
For this story, as a user, I should be able to rewind and fast forward content media.
Okay. So given user is logged into the home page and provide the link.
So nice to start with the title.
Yes. Can you open the screen? I don't remember what was the name again. Sorry.
1 sec. Yeah, sure.
Testing rewind and fast forward controls.
We're not really using a word testing. Base suggestion, just copy and paste.
Okay, makes sense. That would be easy.
Yeah, that's sometimes you just can copy and paste. That's why I told you, like when you create in test cases based on requirement, that's just like piece of cake. Okay, so given what?
Given authorized user is on the home page, logged into the home page.
Okay, but why we're not starting from the somewhere here, like from the player? I would say in your case, given the player.
Okay, because we were told to be as detailed as possible, but also.
Yeah. Guys, you supposed to be as detailed as possible here in a bootcamp. Right now, we create test cases like in the reality. So you don't have this time to create an essay. So you have to test the player controls. Where is the player controls located?
In the player.
On the player, yeah, player. So we can skip this whole part, like homepage, login, blah, blah, blah. We can start from the player. So users who is going to test the player controls, he knows that he's supposed to open the player. So given the media player, that's it.
So just make it as simple as possible.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's supposed to, like, it's detailed. Yeah. So to test control, you're supposed to use a player. You're not supposed to use somewhere a homepage and icons. You're supposed to use a player. So I believe that we already like tested login something and we came to the player part. So we already have it login. So we see the player. So given the media player. So next one, as a user, I should be able to rewind, fast forward the media. Okay, so next step.
When user presses rewind or fast forward?
No, that's two different steps. So let's do when user
pushes rewind.
When user click on rewind, yeah, let's use click word. Click on rewind, then what?
Then next song should start playing.
Then, or you can say then media rewind back, maybe. Yeah, it's next. So yeah, next, or then media rewind back, because rewind, that's we talking about go back.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, right.
So we can say then media rewind back. Yeah, okay, adding this one. Okay, so step number 2, we're going to validate fast forward control. And so
when user clicks on fast forward.
Okay, in this case, we can use end, like this. And user, yeah, click. In this case, it's not really matter when or end. So in this case, I like end more than when, because it's like step number 2, yeah? Hover and click. So hover, not really using in like testing, like hover and click. It's like 2 different actions actually. When you like doing the hover means you test in the hovering state. So there is different option in development, but there is 2 actions. Hover, it's action. Click, it's action. So we're not doing this like different actions in the same test case. So if you would like to test hover, you're supposed to create test case for checking the hovering state. So user is clicking on fast forward. Control, yeah.
Then media fast forwards.
Yeah, then media, yeah. Or even you can say then media jumps
to the next.
Yeah, like forward, yeah, like this. Like this. So do we need in this case design or something else, or that's pretty clear test case? What is your opinion?
I would say it's pretty clear.
Yeah, we don't need in this case no attachment. So yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. I'm pretty satisfied with your way to thinking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Yeah. Okay, so create and test case. Okay, guys, right now we are going to check some more detailed stories. So next one. So you see there is stories which already more detailed, yeah? So we can see as a user, I should see the new, so that's kind of the same, yeah? Like stories, like you see, I created the short option and this one like full option, I would say. 1 second, guys. Yeah, 79. So as a user, I should see the new with player control design so I have the best playback experience. So that's kind of story about the controls. Again, so what we can do in this case, you see there is also like more detailed option for like how it's supposed to work on web about the player controls. So user is able to click on a playhead. Guys, do you know what is a playhead in our application? No, okay, perfect. I will show you, of course. So in our player, it's not really, yeah, it's not play button, guys. So that's why I'm asking you, what do you know? So, oops. So you see, this one is a scrubber bar. So like when you drag, so when you scrubbing something here and it's like pretty bad. So this one, this position here, you know, usually it's like, sometimes there is a like looks like a dot or like a circle. So in this case, it's just like end of the line. So this position here, that's the playhead. So like I would say this one playhead as well. It's if it would be designed this way, that's volume, but this one usually element will be a playhead. So this position here, that's the playhead. So for future, you will remember. So that's the playhead. Okay, so what next? Zoom is pretty annoying. Stay on different position, please. Okay, so let's go back to the player control. So playhead, we have to test playhead. Then when user release the playhead, the audio will jump to the new location. And user can also click on any point of the scrubber bar to jump playhead to that location. And user also can click the rewind button to rewind and fast forward. Okay, sound head, no, you cannot hold the sound head. That's playhead. For sound head, there is no option. That's just called volume bar. So this one, that's the volume bar, I would say. So, and you see guys, there is a more detailed story, yeah? So we already created test cases for rewind and fast forward. So in ideal world, I actually would like to divide those test cases, one for rewind and one for the fast forward. So that's because that's two different controls. So you can say, like we create a test case for player control. So we can, where is different one? This one, yeah. So we can, for example, do player controls, rewinding, test case number 1, player controls, fast forwarding, and that will be better than like this way. This one also acceptable, but nice to actually create to, like in ideal world, nice to, like better to create more detailed and separated test cases. But for a coil, that's acceptable. For more bigger application, so I would say that's supposed to be separated. Okay, let's go back to the requirement. So this one. And you see there is like 5 exactly like detailed requirement in this user story. So what we exactly expecting from the application. So what can I tell you? Yeah, 5 test cases. You see already. So, and you can, we can create actually, like, I will show you how to like create it like super simple from the requirement. So let me put this requirement on a different, so I can show you. Yeah, we will have 5 test cases and you exactly supposed to copy paste from like exactly from requirement. So test case, yeah. So, oops, I don't want to do it here. I want to do it here. Okay, so for example, I would like to create test case for this one, playhead. When user releases playhead, then audio will jump to the new location. So, and for number 2, so we can say validate playback. Yeah, okay. Validate playhead. Yeah, functionality. Okay. So given the scrubber bar, not even player, yeah, because it's player, but it's like I would like to test here, yeah. So that's the scrubber, or we can say progress bar. So depends, guys, how it will be called in your company. So progress bar, scrubber bar. So scrubber bar in player. I think it's only one place where it could be located. It's like in player. So we can say just scrubber, yeah. Or you can say player. So given the like scrubber bar, you guys can do your options as well. So just like we just training right now. So when user, so we have the story, yeah. The user can click on the playhead and drag it to along the scrubber bar. So yeah, copy paste. User click. So when user click and copy paste, yeah, user, oh, I even like paste it twice on the playhead, then, oh no, not then. And drag it along the scrubber bar. Then, no, not then, and release it. And release it. Then audio will jump to the new location. Like this, something like this. You see, sometimes we will be just doing copy paste. So, and the same, yeah, you then next test case, user, like, again, you can create the title appropriate and say, when user click on the any point of the scrubber bar, then media jump to the, then to that location, something like this. So, and the same, you will do it all day. It's not for all day, so it's just when you doing preparation for your real testing. So it's the same, yeah, like we did it with a control. So copy paste. That's, guys, that's actually what I like want to show you today, because it's like super important, like how you're supposed to work with the requirements and the test cases. So first, read it. Like read first, like, and like see how many test cases you see here, yeah. So, and based on this requirement, create test cases. So, and when you actually create, yeah, executing later, right now we're talking about only the preparation. So we're talking about that stage number one, develop, now, not like regression, like functional. Right now we're talking about requirements functional, but regression as well later. So that's kind of the stage number one. Right now we're talking about like developers coding. We creating test cases. They finished with testing, and we already prepared. We created test cases based on our requirements. So once we got this ticket back for us, like this one story, like it will be comment from developer or from the product manager, like something like this: please test in QA, means your QA environment, like this, like developer or product, like, or in, like after, like for example, after it's released to the production and you will supposed to verify it in production, it will be please validate in prod. Yes, that's what we are doing on the beginning of the sprint. Yeah, developers coding, we creating test cases. In ideal world, sometimes we're not, guys, I know the companies without test cases at all. If you don't have specification, you're going to create it based on the information you have. You still need to do some preparation. So no, you guys not, you have to track the stories. So for example, look, you got this ticket with this comment, please test in QA, yeah? And you executed all your test cases here. So, and you see everything is perfect, yeah? And you can say, like, for example, like, verified on QA, yeah? Means you tested, and it's good. So related, how attach test cases to the story. So I didn't finish because I was starting like answering your question. So guys, once you create, like when you creating test cases, there are usually an options that you can link this requirement to your test cases like this. Like, let me copy and let me, I don't remember if it's like good one, but we can link test case here. So admin, no. Okay, let's do opposite. I am sure I will be able to link opposite, or you can link your test cases to, no, I know edit, but I wanna show you different way. This issue relates to, usually it's spawned by or like this, but we can and link. So you see, it's already linked here. So Zephyr is not really ideal in this case. So, but yeah, I did more. So guys, but there is more coolest tool. So for example, you created test cases, like 5 test cases, like here, yeah, for example, and you link it this one user story to your test cases. So once you did it, you will see all these test cases like this way. So all test cases will be here. And some tools allows you, once you executed test cases linked to these requirements, you will see also something here like a progress bar. Like for example, all green mean test cases executed and it went well, or like, you know, like couple green, couple like red, so something is failed. So there is more options. So, but there is always options that you can link requirement to test cases, and opposite, you can link test cases to the requirement. So this way how it will work together. So yes, there will be like, and like you can see verified on QA, and like all your test cases will be like I don't know, like with a green indicator and pass. Who has to execute the test cases in real life? Confused with your question, testers, obviously. who the person who is testing? You mean like switching pass fail indicator, tester only. So that means executing means testing. It's not you just switching, like putting results. Execute means test, like that's equal word in a testing. So that's the way how you see it, like so. And so related to the how you will track it. So for example, you test it, like, and for example, one acceptance criteria is validated partially. For example, user on all browsers is able to drag the playhead, like except for example, Internet Explorer, which is buggiest, or Safari, for example, and user cannot. So in this case, you're supposed to create separate bug report for this story and say like verified on QA, issue linked. So you're not going to retest after the so issue present, for example, only on IE11. So you will validate later only bug on IE11, but this story is supposed to be deployed. So you're not going to reopen this story because of only one browser if, like, for example, 6 is validated. So, and you can say like link it this issue to this story. So, and you can link it and it also will be present here. And for example, product manager or product owner will ask in a comment here, like some question, like he will like tag you and ask you the question. So you will get notification by email. So yes, please reply. So make sure, so there will be like, you will create like a, I don't know, folder, like what I'm doing, like not only me, everyone is doing. You will create like folder in your email, like Jira, for example, and you will name it Jira. So, and all emails, like you will create a filter and all emails related to the Jira will be saved in this folder. So once questions come into you, you will see it in this folder and you will get notifications. So that's way how you can track. So easy, yeah? Okay, what else do we have here? Yeah, one more story. You see, as a user, if I begin seeking on the stream, the audio should pause until I stop seeking. So the audio should pause when scrubbing on web and web mobile. So you see this user story specifying exactly what kind of platforms we're supposed to test. So we can actually use it later for web mobile testing. So I will explain what I mean by writing this one. If I begin seeking on the stream, the audio should pause. And actually, it's not really paused, which I think it's a bug. So guys, let's start playing. So you see it's playing, sorry, too loud. And I'm starting seeking, you see it's paused. But sometimes I still seek and I still hear the music. So it's not really fully implemented. So when I'm seeking, there is like, and I'm in a, like I'm playing and I'm seeking, when I'm seeking, like you see, so pause is partially like working. So that's kind of an issue. So when you're seeking, it's supposed to be paused for sure. So, and it's supposed to be start from position you want. So that's kind of like this. So I'm sure that's kind of an issue. So that's one more story. So you can say like when you are seeking the stream, audio post, but sometimes you hear the audio, so it's not really. So yeah, guys, if you would like, you can create test cases for this story as well. So what we are going to do now we're going to talk about the end-to-end testing and then all your questions. How I know it's supposed to be posed? Do we have the function of description of the project? Yes, you have. Description is here. I just write it for you. So let's pretend I'm not your teacher here. I am the product owner who created the story for developers. And they created this functionality. And you as a tester start testing and it doesn't work. So yes, your story say it's supposed to be posted. So, and it's not. No, you're not building test cases based on the user stories only. If you have to create negative test cases, so it will be like a kind of opposite your test, like it will be opposite your story. But yes, you can check the user story, create positive test cases, and you, based on your positive test cases, you can create negative test cases, but they will not be created based on user story. User story is your main documentation on the project, and all positive test cases supposed to be done based on user stories. Because only user stories know how it's supposed to work, yeah? So that's our acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria, it's here. I'm seeking and it's supposed to be posted and it's not, like, so that's kind of an issue. So yeah, so that's your main documentation here. Yeah, so, and again, like related to the sprint. So let's check your sprint, guys. So we will repeat it again. So active sprints, like all our, like you see, all our columns is here. So guys, one more. In reality, your board could be different. Again, that's just settings. So we have to do QA ready for UAT and done. There is one more to do in progress QA to be deployed to the production, and could be like hundreds more options. So settings could be different. Use UAT, that's user acceptance test. I will explain it to you one more time. So this one column. So this column, that's beginning of the sprint. That's all our tickets we're supposed to do. So stories for new features, bug reports from different sprint. For example, we for example, we will not be able to fix it before in the previous sprint, so we move it to this one. So everything will be here. So that's stage number one. So for example, you will not be moving to in progress probably this ticket, because or like any other column before QA, it will be moved by developer. So one developer is taking like task here. He is doing something like, let's check on this test case. So he will do more action. Let's actually check, not on test cases, let's check on the story. Yeah, we have a story here. So as that created, so we can from to do, we have actually only one column, start QA. So okay, I move it to QA. So but in reality will be one more column between something like in progress, so mean developers working on it right now. Once development is done, like done for sure, and it's ready for QA, it will be here. So it means you can start testing. Test cases, not test cases, tickets not will be assigned to the specific person. If it's supposed to be assigned to developer, so it's not you. Usually how it works, you guys will have a project manager or maybe Scrum Master or lead who will be assigned it like bug report or like story for development to developer, not you, because for example, you don't know who is a backend developer, who is a front-end developer, so not usually you. Sometimes if like it's small team, like couple developers, couple QA, like no project manager, no Scrum Master, you will be assigned ticket to specific person, and a developer could assign the ticket specific back to you, but not always. So processes different from company to company, so there is no I don't know, 100% right answer. In reality, supposed to be the project manager person. So for example, I found an issue and I will not be assigning this issue to the developer. I will assign this ticket to the project manager and he will assign it to appropriate developer. When issue is fixed, it's not going to be assigned to me as a specific QA who found, it will be assigned here to the QA and will be something like ready for QA or like name of the team or something like this. So will be for QA, like assign it to QA team. Like instead of unassign it, it will be assigned to QA team like here. Okay, so once ticket is here, so it means it's ready for QA, means it's ready for us. So we test, like, yeah. So what we are going to do, we're supposed to go step by step and we test it, yeah. And once it's done and there is no, I would say, issues, we will set it up like we can do like ready for deployment, means ready for future release. We don't have this column here because this one designed specifically for you. But in reality, it will be something like not ready for UAT, will be ready for deployment. Once, like, what does it mean? So once release is started, this issue is developed and we can push this code from this ticket to the production. It will be definitely not, they're not pushing ticket to production one by one. That will be like whole set of codes. Deployment is not always release. Deployment could be to any environment. So let's guys not talk about release today. We will have whole Saturday class. So I will explain. So forget about release for now. So ticket is ready. So it will be here. And once it's released to the production, it will be done and closed. So something like this. Like from our bootcamp perspective, like once you done with your testing, like you create the ticket, you create test cases, and it's ready for also to check, you can move it here, like ready for UAT. And you see, we still leave it unassigned because also could check, like for example, or I will have time to check, I can go. So, and I will have to assign it to me. So once I'm assigning it to myself, it means I'm working on this ticket. So UAT is user acceptance test. Sometimes like product people in a company, they would like to do user acceptance tests, not to check how QA tested, to check how the product exactly working. So if it was developed correct. So that means user acceptance testing. So it's here. So you see, once I'm started, we can, so I sign it to myself and I'm start checking, I will move it here. So means I'm working on it right now. So, and once my work is done, like for example, accepted by me, I will move it here to done. So you as a testers will be moving tickets like for example, or to ready for deployment or reopened because it's broken. Like we usually using those two options. We're not creating like new story for development because it's not our responsibilities. So once we create in the bug reports, it's definitely in to-do stage first here, like here, but once developer will take it, it will be in progress. And then it, like once it's fixed, it will be here for QA. So your board could be different. So, but kind of that's like moving, like moves will be this direction. So from to do to in progress to QA, then to like ready for go to production and then closed, like done and closed, something like this. Clear, guys? How we're moving tickets here. Okay. Yeah, so the question was, we testing on different browsers right away? Yes, you have to set up like test runs for each browser and test your ticket everywhere. Each browser, each platform, like phones. So yeah, everywhere, your test environment. So we will talk about this one. Okay, guys, so let's go back. What should do if the requirement is not clear? The same what you're doing right now. You're supposed to ask the question in this, like in the story. Like I will show you how. Like, please add more details, or like what I'm doing. Like usually, please add acceptance criteria. And assign back to the person who, like, I don't know, project manager, product owner, like this. Clear? Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. So guys, next one. What is the next one? So once you got this story, or why it's end-to-end testing. Okay. Once you get, for example, the story for a specific flow for the application, for example, for the playback, yeah, as we like, or player controls. So we're supposed to do end-to-end testing. for this flow. So end-to-end testing, that's technique which we actually using for test the flow of the not whole application, like exact the flow, like playback, playlist, for example, I don't know, user functionality or something else, something like this, from the start to the finish. So to make sure like whole flow of this part of application works as expected. So as you can see on the screenshot, like how it's supposed to work, like it's actually what we did right now. So first, to do this end-to-end testing, we're supposed to check requirements and create documentation. In this case, that's our test cases, yeah? So if we have to do some extra components from the end-to-end testing, yeah, we're supposed to design it. Not usually, sometimes it happens if we need some like additional data or tools or clarification. So that's called design end-to-end components. So then that's component design, so and testing, so we can test those components as well. So next stage in end-to-end testing is development. So when one development is done, we are going to start end-to-end testing. How are we going to test? We have to set up environment first, we have to create test design, and we have to execute. So that's what we like actually did right now with the test cases. So let's speak about more detail. So the purpose of this end-to-end testing actually is to identify the system dependencies, and we have to ensure that like all data like which is maintained in between various systems like components and system works as expected. So that's really important, that you're not supposed to skip anything and be ready to this end-to-end testing as well. So first, stage number one in end-to-end testing, you're supposed to review requirement, really accurate, and make sure you clear what is expected. So review requirements that you are going to use in your end-to-end testing. Next, set up environment. What does it mean? So you need to test the playback, yeah? So to test playback, you're supposed to test it across your all browsers. So by setup environment means make sure your browser updated to the latest version, for example, and you know what kind of browsers you're supposed to test. So what kind of browser you're supposed to test, you're supposed to know by using user analytics. So for example, your users using like Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and like, I don't know, Firefox. So you will have to set up for a browser to test your application, yeah? So, and you have to test your application on Windows and Mac OS. So in this case, that's your environment. And you're supposed to make sure that you have a link to your environment QA link, so you know where to test. So in this case, that will be your test environment. So, and guys, yes, you will have two OS, of course, because we have Mac OS and we have Windows. And if your application is supporting both, you're supposed to test in both. What they will provide, OS, different machines, of course. Of course, you will have Windows, you will have everything like Mac machine, like iPhones, Android phones, of course. How are you going to test without anything? So, and guys, yeah, believe me, the setting up environment, that's really painful. Sometimes it's just not to prepare the browsers or platforms. So you will have to install additional tools, like even some languages you're supposed to install on your like programming languages, like environment, so you're supposed to install it. So it's really painful, believe me. Sometimes setting up environment like took more time than actual testing, so believe me. So then you're supposed to define the process of your system and integrated subsystems. So if, for example, your application integrated with something, I don't know, you integrate in your, like, for example, our coil player integrated to, I don't know, any other like social share into the Facebook. Like, for example, Facebook can use your player to play video clips or like audio. So it could be integrated with any application. So you have to make sure that you know that integrated somewhere. So, and your flow is supposed to be tested on your side and on different side as well. So that's how you're supposed to test. In towards end-to-end testing, you're supposed to test your application from start, like application flow, like what you're going to test, like playback from start to the finish, from start to the end. So then you're supposed to define the testing methodology. So if your testing will require, again, extra settings, languages, and tools, you're supposed to also make sure you know what you're supposed to prepare before you test, and not only positive first, the negative too, because it's not really end-to-end if you will test positive only, but positive first, always first. So next, in your end-to-end testing, you're supposed to list the input and output for each system. So that's kind of, you're supposed to create this list based on the available documentation. And that's kind of end-to-end testing for coil. That's my example. So, and it will be more easier for you. So first, that's part of your homework, guys, actually. So for your homework, you will have a story and you will have to perform end-to-end testing for the story. So for the coil application. So you will have a requirement. Oops, excuse me. Let's go back. So you will have to review requirements. Like I already provided like some example of requirements, so you know what I mean. You have to prepare an environment where to test. So you right now you have a freedom. You can choose anything you want, like anything you have. So you're supposed to prepare your environment. In your case, make sure you're using the latest browser version. For example, Chrome 81, because I saw some people using Chrome 74. So of course it will be issues, but who cares about Chrome 74 if current version is 81? So make sure, same with your operation system. Like for Mac is late as a Catalina. It's okay to test on Mojave, but what was the reason to use Mojave if you can test on Catalina? Same for the Windows. If you see your machine asking you for update, please make sure you update it before you start testing, because there is maybe this update of your machine is including the critical fix. So, and it's not your application issue, it's your machine issue. And you will still see the same issue because you never updated your machine. So prepare your environment and link where to test. Then we will have to define the test strategy, like our testing process, what we are going to test. So if we test in playback, what we're supposed to test first? We're supposed to ensure that our audio playing across all browser and platforms. So for Windows, it's supposed to be at least first Chrome, then Microsoft Edge or Chromium Edge, that's a replacement of the Microsoft browser. And I would say still IE11, not because it's a requirement from my side, guys. IE11 is the most buggiest browser. For example, there is sometimes for some application, there is no even hover state on IE11, so you cannot hover element. For example, it will be clickable, but how you know it's clickable if it's you don't have this mouse pointer or hover state? So That's why for your future experience, it's nice to test on IE11. So to make sure you know what issue means. So, and why it's so bad. So IE11 not supporting HTML5. And most of the application written was using HTML5. So that's why it's such a painful, and believe me, all testers and developer praying each and every day when they will stop supporting IE11. So, and still a lot of companies, like all the government companies here in US, they actually using IE11 as a like main browser. So it's funny, but sometimes it's really true. Oh, so that's related to browser platforms. So then you have to check that player controls present and behaved in each browser the same way. Each browser, guys. Then you have to test on different viewports. Do we remember what is a viewport and how to change the viewport, guys? Okay, so you remember the tool, yeah? What is my viewport? Perfect. So then you have to, not really DevTools. Okay, I will show one more time. Then you have to test pause, state, play, forward, backward, volume up, volume down, and repeat. Because all these actions related to the playback, yeah? It sounds like volume, it's not playback, but when you playing something, so you're supposed to do volume up and volume down to make sure the playback state is changing, it's or going up or going down. So then you have to also test playback under different equalizer settings as well. And you have to test the sig bar, scrubber bar. So, and that's kind of example of end-to-end testing for the playback in coil. Once you test it, so you review the requirements and you created test cases and then you test it, you have to do what? You're supposed to check your results. So, and based on your results, you're supposed to create bug reports or no. So that's how it's works. No, end-to-end is not meaning to test through all major platform. Test through all major platform and browser, that's called cross-browser or cross-platform testing. End-to-end testing means you're checking the application flow from start to the end. I mean, all possible scenario about this option. So right now, this example is playback only related. So, but coil, that's the huge application, yeah? So we have also like playlist option, for example. Yeah, we have a navigation. So the same end-to-end testing could be implemented for each and every piece in application. And we can perform end-to-end testing for whole application, but that's probably regression, I would say. But so in this case, end-to-end for the flow of the application, one flow. Application has multiple flows. So right now I'm talking the end-to-end testing for one flow from start to the end. Like you're supposed to make sure you're covering whole flow for the end-to-end testing. Yeah, you can check viewport in the console as well, but yeah, so you're supposed to just squeeze your application or make it bigger. So that's, so your homework for today, like tomorrow obviously, will be you're supposed to perform the application flow end-to-end testing. So your homework will be story. As a user, I want to play digital music from the playlist so I can enjoy the music. And in the story, in the homework, you will see conditions, like full requirement. I wrote it in Gherkin style, so it will be easy for you, especially for test case creation. So make sure, like I will share this presentation, guys, with you. Flow function, no. flow could include multiple functions, I would say. So playback, it's flow and it include multiple functions. So you can play pause, you can go back forward, you can interact with the player controls, but it's still everything related to the playback, and playback, that's the flow. So make sure before you're doing your end-to-end testing, you created something like this for yourself. It's not mandatory, it's only like optional helps for you. So make sure you clear here. So go back again through presentation. Sanity and into, that's totally different things. So sanity, for example, you created a bug, like bug for something, yeah? And bug report, and it's fixed. And for example, you went to one browser to check it, it's definitely fix it. So that's kind of sanity. Should be 6 test cases. I cannot answer the question how many test cases you will create based on your homework. You will, that's task for you. You will have to go to your homework and check the task, and based on the task and your opinion, you will create test cases. Can you write it for us as a story? It's write it for you as a story. You will see it in homework. When tests are writing test, guys, not so. Guys, if you will have a duplicates, it's no matter. Of course, it's no matter. You will do the same task. So in this case, I don't care about the duplicates. I care about like end-to-end testing right now, no matter. Yeah, just practice. We are practicing, guys. I know you think something like I already tested or I did it before. Guys, like I bet 500% you missed a lot of issues, and probably you can actually review your previous test cases and make it better. If, for example, you have something similar, you just can go back and make it better. So practice, practice, and practice, because guys, this week you will going to learn builds with like an continuous integration with Denis, I believe, and release with me. And then we're going to start work on your resume. And then I will push you to go to the market, like even just for trying to see what's on the market. And then we are going to learn mobile API, SQL, and automation, which is like kind of advanced part. So, but at least you will be start preparing your resume, like your LinkedIn profile, and you will know how to search for the job so you can explore the markets. So that's why the most like what is really important for the junior QA. You're supposed to know how to create test cases, how to create bug reports, and how to look for bug reports, how to test. The only one way you can do this, you can practice. So that's why you have to right now perform end-to-end testing for the application flow. Make sure you know how to create test cases, make sure how to create bug reports, make sure you cover it, this flow, like for like with end-to-end testing strategy. So that's super important. So if you will see like difference between like your previous test cases and bug reports, and like once you started, like compare like what you created when you started and what do you know now, believe me, that will be a huge difference. So you can upgrade your test cases right now. You can go through your bug reports and make sure you definitely make it better. So it's really important. Okay, so let's go. I know we have questions, guys. Let me answer the first question from here. 1 second. So why it's called user story if a team of a project creates is because that's how it's called, user stories. Because who is the person who will be using your product? User. Everything what we are doing, everything what we're developing, that's for user. So he's our star, yeah? So That's why it's user stories. So like how is the user is going to use our project? Who is creating user story? Developers or project manager? Product owner. It could be product owner, usually in reality, but any person could create user story. And user story, Victor, I see your question. You don't have to type it 3 times. User story, it's not equal requirement. That's similar, but user story, sometimes a requirement could be just a really long technical description. And sometimes a requirement could include like short user story, like as a user, I want to do something, and like expected criteria. So no, it's not equal. It's similar, but it's not the same. Yeah, user story, it's like more expected result. It's more from user perspective. So what we are going to develop for user and how we're going to test from user perspective. Yeah, user story kind of how the user will be using our product. So what user expects from our product and how we're supposed to develop our product based on this user story. So no, it's not equal. How does a test case look for scroll bar for negative testing? I don't know, scroll 100 times, scroll quickly back and forward. Be creative, it's like multiple options. Don't Google, but guys, try to do not Google. Use your creativity, okay? So yeah, it sounds similar, but it's different. It's different. Okay. When tester writes in test cases, at the same time developer creating code for the same user story, yes. You will have all browser or in devices in my job, yes. So, and there was questions, I saw more questions. When tester, one second guys, I'm reading your question to make sure I didn't miss anything. As a QA, do we ever write stories? Seem like usually, guys, we're not writing the user story. Usually, it's product owner responsibilities. Yeah, and you using them as your guideline for test case creation for testing. Yes, in a normal company, yes. If it's startup, you know, sometimes it could be no documentation at all. So in this case, you're supposed to probably sometimes you will have an option to create user story as well. So that's why you're supposed to know how to create user stories. So, but usually, yes. So, okay, what other questions do we have? User story will appear in a test plan. Never saw user story in a test plan. We have some like section about like what kind of like, yeah, user story or requirements we will need, but it's not will be exactly requirements. Test cases, yes. How does a test case look for? I answer it. Using Google is a major part of our job. Yes, of course, but when you, guys, so when you're thinking about to test something and you have to test it from negative perspective, use your creativity, try to break, just try to break the application. That's the best way. And Google in test cases, yes, you can, but better to create your test cases. Who knows, maybe you know better than Google sometimes. So I have colleagues who they doing unbelievable negative test cases, and yeah, sometimes that's the rare case, and user not going like, I don't know, like scrub like this. Let me check. Let me show you. Like this, for example, like this going back and forward like 20 times. Like, but for example, if you will do like this, sometimes application, you see what it's doing right now. I already tested and found an issue. So it's doing something like crazy. So yeah, you can do something like really cool. So yeah, and again, like difference between a user story and requirement. So user story focuses on customer experience. So what person using the like our product should be able to do and want to do. So requirement, that's more technical functionality focused documentation. So in reality, guys, I would say we're using like a combination between technical requirement and user story. Like I show you here. Like let me go back, and I will show you again. This one, I believe, yeah. No, not this one. You see? So sometimes your user story will be like this sentence only. And based on this sentence, you will have to use your creativity, create the test cases. But this story, I would say that's the combination of user experience story, like user focuses and like some technical requirements. So I already gave you and developer like acceptance criteria. So how it's supposed to like playhead works, what kind of experience we're supposed to have, and like how they supposed to create this interaction between like player and control. So you see there is more like technical addition. So that's kind of right now, I would say like we combine in user story and technical requirements in one. So, and it's just called story. So, and that's fine. So this one just story. I would say that's combination user story if requirements. So yeah, so major, like it's just objective difference. So user story focuses on customer experience, traditional requirement based on like technical functionality. So what the product should do. So user story, what user want, requirements, what product should do. I would say like this. I hope it's more clear now. With our resume, it's crucial to have 2 years of experience to get a good job. We will talk about it. Okay, resume class. How do we know what kind of testing we have to use for a particular flow? I think I explained. So you have, so you will test functionality, functional testing, but your technique is end-to-end testing. And first you test in positives, then you test in negative, which include for which included into end-to-end testing as well. Yeah, I crashed the application. I like to do this. I think we get the requirements and create a user story to create test cases. Not really. And I cannot say yes or I cannot say no. You will get something like once like this. And it could be short or it could be normal and well written and well detailed. So it will be something like this. You're not asking about home, but in reality, same in reality. How are you supposed to know? From your test experience, I would answer. That's what I'm telling you right now. First, you always test in positive steps, then negative. So that's only one possible technique. And you know, guys, the best bugs usually coming from your way thinking out of the box. End-to-end, it's testing type and testing technique. That's kind of the similar options. So what other question do we have? Okay, guys. What's negative is negative testing I mentioned. Okay, let me explain you like with an example, yeah? The same what I show you right now. So for example, I'm playing the song, yeah? So it's playing and where is my scrubber bar? And you see right now it's not available. Let me refresh the page. So I start playing something, yeah? And I would like to check the functionality of the scrubber bar here, yeah? When I'm doing the positive steps, I will just do like this, and I make sure my audio is still playing and looks like it's playing from the middle, and like I see that like time duration, actually nice to have to see how long it's playing. So I do like this, and I, for example, like do like this, 2 steps, and it's positive, yeah? So when I go back, or when I go forward, it jumps forward. When I go back, it jumps back. That's positive, yeah? And I would like to test something negative, yeah? That's what I show you. Like I will do like this. I will do like something like crazy users. Like I will go here, I will go back, I will do like this like couple times. And you see the hover state is missing. Like sometimes you see, guys, sometimes it's just not mouse pointer and it's clickable. So use your creativity to see what kind of negative tests you can perform. But positive, you like, again, you're supposed to like do your positive into the boundaries sometimes. So you have to click, like you have to click somewhere here first, like in the middle, make sure it jumping in the middle, and at the end. And it's not jumping for some reason at the end, which is like super, I'm disappointed about this one. So that's your boundaries, like start of the song, middle of the song, and end of the song. You have a boundaries for the playback, yeah? So that's your positive. So you can, and you can go back and forward in your boundaries, and that's kind of negative testing. So there is, guys, thousands of creative way how you can crash the application. So just try to do it. Just try. You think it's not negative, it depends on your speed on the internet? No, it's a negative test because I never sourced the requirements which say and go back and forward using the SIG bar 100 times. So, and it's not related to the speed of internet connection. So I'm interacting with the element. This bar, it's element, web element. So it's not related to the web connection at all. So it's related only to my use. So I'm clicking and I not resuming the playhead, so I can do anything I want. You see, I'm interacting. It's not my connection, you see? It's my interaction. So it's negative. And my interaction is kind of crazy in this case, so it's negative. You said you're asking in the comments to add acceptance criteria, but nobody will say, hey, you have the same access to the specification. Feel free to check it out. Of course, no. For example, you store, like you got this story, like this one. If they're not crazy, they will never say this way. So for example, you got the story and something is not clear to you. And guys, we're doing the same work, teamwork. And everyone is interested to develop the most best product in the world, yeah? So developer, he would like you to test application to make sure everything is developed and work in the correct way. It's the same as a product person. he wants the testers understand everything is really super clear. So no, there is obviously no one will tell you go away from my eyes and check it by yourself. No, of course no. I never saw, guys. Well, yeah, there is sometimes a situation, but I was happy in my life. I was working and like working right now only with best product people and developers who is super nice and who is always answering the question. And I'm always doing the same way. So I'm also like receiving like thousands of questions from developer, from the product, from my teammates, and I'm always answering the question. Even I know that they know the place where to look. So no, that's how it's work. You're supposed to always answer the questions. Okay, guys, we almost like, I'm sure we're done because we already like 15 minutes more from the class. Okay, guys, so again, homework, you know, where's the homework in LMS? If you have a question, ask a teacher channel. I will try to help you. And I will share this presentation with you right now. So you will be able to get helped. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for the class too. I will see you all on Saturday, and be ready for the cool class with Dennis. He is also like preparing something cool for you. Okay, bye guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Bye guys.